Sourdough bread does not have to be overwhelming. If I can do it, I promise you can too. The night before I want to bake the bread, I make my leaven. This is taking 75 grams of starter, 75 grams of flour, and 75 grams of water and mixing it together overnight. You just mix it up till it's kind of like a waffle consistency. Just personal preference, but I like to scrape the edges of the jars clean so I can see when it doubles by the morning. I use a rubber band, or you can use a marker to make sure when you wake up in the morning, it looks like this. It has doubled in size from our marking and it's nice and bubbly. Now I'm going to add 100 grams of the leaven, 350 grams of water, and I'm going to mix that up first, and then I'm going to add 500 grams of flour. At first, when you're mixing these together, I like to use a dough hook to get all the ingredients, but eventually you just have to get in there with your hands. It gets a little messy, but trust me, this is all worth it. Cover it up and let it sit for 30 minutes. After that, you're going to add 10 grams of salt and just a splash of water, about 10 or 20 grams of water too. Fold the salt into your dough and you're going to mix it up. It's a really simple process. You can also gently be forming a ball of dough, and you're going to cover it for another 30 minutes before you begin your stretch and fold. You're going to do 4 stretch and folds over the next 2 hours, once every 30 minutes. You're going to pull the dough up from a coil method like this, right in the center, or you can do my favorite kind and pull the dough from the 4 directions around the circle. So like right, top, left, bottom. After each stretch and fold, 1 time each, you're going to cover it again, let it sit for 30 minutes, go at it again 4 times, once every 30 minutes for 2 hours. Then the dough just sits for 2 hours, and when it's done, you get to pull it out and start your shaping. In this batch, I actually made enough for 4 loaves, so I'm going to be shaping 4 loaves. I'm going to do 2 of the oval shape and 2 of the standard sourdough shape. I like to cover my Banneton baskets with a little bit of rice flour. The rice flour just helps the bread not stick to the Banneton basket. Next, you're going to take your dough and you're going to pull the 3 corners over together and then pull it like this. This is a process where you kind of push the dough forward and pull it back. It creates that tension on top, and then you flip it upside down into your Banneton basket and kind of braid and pinch the bottom of the dough so it sticks together. These shower caps are actually awesome to put on top of your Banneton basket while the bread rises. You're going to do this again for all of your loaves, however many you make. You're going to make sure that tension is tight on top and let these sit for about 3 to 4 hours. When you are ready to go, you're going to flip the Banneton basket over, and it's going to give you this nice loaf. I put a little bit of flour on top to spread around, and you're going to get ready to score. So scoring obviously makes the bread look beautiful, but also serves a purpose because it's going to let the gases out of the bread, is my understanding. So it helps it rise better, cook better, and you get those beautiful designs on top. You bake your bread at 450 for 20 minutes, then you take the lid off and you bake it again for another 20 minutes. This helps it brown up at top, and you get the crunchy crust on top and the soft on the inside. This is the part where your house will start to smell so amazing and you actually realize you've done this. It's awesome. Last but not least, after it has been about an hour out of the oven, you can start cutting it. My favorite way to cut sourdough is straight down the middle, and then you're going to lay that down and you're going to be able to cut the pieces going this way. It helps you have more control of the bread, nice thin slices. A good quality bread knife is going to be one of your best friends when baking bread. It makes it so much easier. Look at how delicious and yummy this looks with that crunchy crust, soft inside. You're going to love it. Your hands-on time for sourdough is about 20 minutes total, but it does take about 24 hours if you start the night before to have delicious fresh bread the next day. If I can do this, I promise you can too. Comment below and I'll send you the recipe and the tools that I use to make this process super simple.